Hello everyone and welcome back to SliverStar Arcade and more The Great Ace Attorney. This is my third time trying to do this intro because I'm trying to play with the audio a bit because I feel like the last episode I was kind of quiet or the music was loud. So, because here's the thing, I can increase the volume. Oh, whoops. I can increase the volume in the program, but my mic also has an up and down button on it as well, which does affect it, but I don't know when it's at full or what it's set to, and I don't know where to view that. So yeah. Anyways, in the last episode we met Mr. I can't really remember his name. Does he show up in the court record? He does. John Garadib, 46, a retired army man who's the landlord of the lodgings rented by the defendant, Mr. Natsume. An old knee injury means he's confined to a chair most of the time. Maid, question mark for age. A maid who works at the Garadib household. Her main duty appears to be standing at Mr. Garadib's side, pouring tea. And we now have access. Oh, I hope my voice doesn't end up being too loud for this episode. Just, maybe if I point the mic away from myself a little bit. I don't know. Anyways, we now can move on. Yep, a new location has been added. Even when they are a little worse for wear, English rooms are so splendidly colorful. A suite at the top floor of the Garadib household, occupied by the landlord, Mr. Garadib, and his wife. The window looks out over Briar Road. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot to mention this in the last episode, but the man is wearing a ring, so he is married. Alright, Mr. Natsume's room. A small dark room rented by a visiting scholar from the Empire of Japan by the name of Soseki Natsume. How funny. As soon as that cat shows up, my cat decides to show up. 19th February, Mr. Natsume's room. What? Just look at this place. And smell it. It's so musty in here. I suppose it's the mountains of old books that are responsible for that. I don't think I've ever seen so many books in all my life. No, me neither. It's so dark in here, too. Is that the window over there? Well, it was the window, I think, yes, once upon a time. But for some reason, it's been closed up with bricks and mortar. Get the cannon. So this is where Mr. Natsume lives. By the way, I haven't spotted Mr. Sholms anywhere, have you? No, I haven't. I'm frankly kind of happy about that so far. No, that's true, but according to what Mr. Garadib told us, the great detective should be around here somewhere investigating. Oh no. Why is there such a delay in the... audio? 1 second. I have come to the executive decision that we are just going to have to deal with the audio delay because I fear that if I unplug the Elgato and plug it back in, it'll just cause more problems down the line, like audio tracks in the background skipping. Yeah, that's gone. Oh, look! It's a beckoning cat from home. It's a bit bulky, isn't it? Surely Mr. Natsume didn't bring that Maneki Neko all the way from Japan with him. I'd hardly think you're in a position to comment, Mr. Naruto. Are you forgetting the enormous Daruma doll that you brought in your luggage? Well, it can be dangerous traveling abroad. I wanted a Lucky Charm. Well, I imagine Mr. Natsume wanted the same, and this cat is sure to beckon good luck to him. It's not doing a very good job so far, is it? You mustn't say such things. There she goes again, reading our minds. I didn't say a word. Why are my eyes such a giveaway? You know, if it wasn't for the fact that I'm pretty sure these two end up together and create the bloodline that leads to Phoenix Wright, I'd say there's a very strong possibility that this leads to Apollo and his... I'd say that, you know, if it wasn't for the fact that I'm pretty sure these two end up creating the bloodline for Phoenix Wright, I'd say there's a strong possibility that her genes could end up with Apollo and how he's able to, you know, read people through body language, because that seems to be what's happened. Ah, crap, the cat. We have fixed the timing issue. Perfect. Oh my, what an adorable little cat. Perhaps he's looking after all the books while his master is away. I don't know what my cat's looking after, but they're going crazy. I don't know about that. He disappeared into that pile of books as quick as a flash. It was a tricolored Miki, wasn't it? Do they even have that sort of cat here in Great Britain? Perhaps Mr. Natsume brought this little creature with him from Japan. That's made me feel homesick now. Already? We've only been in the country for 2 days. Look at all these balls of paper on the floor. These are notes scrawled all over them in English. It looks like the waste paper basket is so full they've just fallen out. I think Mr. Natsume must have been deeply immersed in his research, don't you? Or deeply adverse to tidying up his mess. I wouldn't like to speculate which is closer to the truth. Also, everything kind of seems to be synced up better. Look at all these books stacked up there. They almost reach the ceiling. They're all works of English literature, and they all smell so musty. With this volume of books to hand, you'd never be short of reading material, would you? No. What a dreamy idea. A bad dream, maybe. For me, at least. Mind you, I don't imagine the books that's at the bottom of the pile now will ever be read again. Ah, serene, it is an experience that comes but once in a lifetime, just as the tea ceremony teaches us. I certainly didn't expect the conversation to turn down the path of a tea ceremony philosophy. Also, why are we suddenly getting a whole bunch of new poses from Sasota-san? Like... Okay, I know her name is just Sasota, but like, I say, they make you say Sasota-san so much, it's just kind of become the thing. Anyways, that's dangerous. This appears to be some sort of meter on the wall here. It looks very robust. I wonder what it's for. There's a slot for inserting coins here, too. Oh, I thought it was something to do with fire. Ah, I believe that is a gas meter, Mr. Naruto. A gas meter? Yes, It seems there is piped gas in this district, which consumers pay for by putting coins in the meter. So if we were to put a coin in the slot, that would be enough gas to use the lights and the gas fire for the whole night. So if you're too poor to have a coin, you'd have to spend the night in the dark and freezing cold? That's right, as would a rich man who only carried crisp white notes. London is a scary place. It is weird that there is no music here. Why does it let us look over here if... Well, I guess there's only one thing left to look at, really. That desk seems to be wedged into a crevice between the mountains of books on either side. I suppose Mr. Natsume would sit there and read while stroking his cat. But surrounded on all sides by these towering old tomes, surely he dreamt of books every night as well. Yes, he must have done, mustn't he? Oh, what's this? It's a receipt from a second-hand bookshop. Your books. Oh, yes, Mr. Natsume's name is on it. Look, and the date of purchase. Ah, 2 days ago at 4:45 p.m. That's the day of the incident. That's just a short while before he was embroiled in the terrible attack. Oh wow, she just kind of leans in. He must have been on his way back from buying some old books. The second-hand book receipt is entered into the court record. A receipt discovered in Mr. Natsume's room for some books that he had purchased from a second-hand bookshop before the incident occurred. Okay. Wait, is that everything? Surely not. Oh yeah, I forgot to check this. Could you even call this a window? I think so. It was a window at one time, after all. Although all that remains is a frame around some bricks now. So really, it's just a wall then, isn't it? But why would anyone deliberately brick it up like that? I'm afraid I have no idea. Ah! Perhaps Mr. Natsume painted the brick designs on it in a fit of whimsy. Ugh, that's alarmingly feasible. Anyway, whatever the reason, the lack of ventilation here makes the place very oppressive. It does. I imagine being cooped up in a room like this would be extremely tiring. So wait, is that everything now? What the... Why did that almost scare me? 1 second, I'm gonna go back to the old videos and figure out how I voiced him. I think I just gave him my regular voice, but a bit more extravagant. Okay. Here we go. Ah, look, Mr. Naruto. Aha, there he is. Where did he appear from? He seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book. I hope you won't mind if we disturb him. Hello, Mr. Sholms. Oh, you two! Good day! Now, let me see. Where was it that we met? Oh, Mr. Sholms, we were together on the SS Burya. Yes, of course, the Burya. And then, let me see. What happened on that voyage? It was Kazuma Sogi. We died tragically. But you were a great help to us. Ah, yes, but of course, the case of Mr. Asogi. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it? Oh! Well, you seem to remember something of it, at least. What an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great Herlock Sholms. This is Mr... Oh, no, my dear madam, hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely recorded in my brain attic. Miss Naruto and Mr. Soda. Try the other way around, Mr. Sholms. I lose the first round. Oh no. In truth, I had hoped to invite you both to my Baker Street suite the day we arrived in London, but some Scotland Yarders ambushed me at the railway station and whisked me away to a crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I solved the matter in no more than 30 minutes. So they apprehended Suzuki-san in that short of amount of time. I'm afraid the pursuance of a new case has dulled my recollection of my past involvements a little. A little? It is a mistake to think that one's brain attic has elastic walls and can distend to any extent. I do my best to forget useless facts, lest they should elbow out the useful ones. Yes, those are my own words of immentable wisdom, you know, from an adventure entitled A Study in Scarlet. Please, there's no need to quote yourself. I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately, my associate pens them beautifully. He means Iris, I suppose. Mr. Sholms, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned. Goodness, what an earnest expression. My dear madam, I should only be too pleased, and this murky room is an apt place to discuss the murky case. Hey buddy, remember this? Mr. Naruto, please. Despite apprehensions to the contrary, I am a professional. If I am to unleash my deductive powers on that trinket, I must ask for a sum of £3 in cash. Oh, I don't need you to make any deductions about it. I was just wondering if you might know. Mr. Naruto, as a professional, I insist that if I am to offer an opinion on that trinket, I must ask for a sum of £3 in cash. I believe Mr. Sholmes has his eye on an expensive copy of the complete works of Shakespeare. Yes, to stand on the stage amid rapturous applause has long been a dream of mine, you know. I literally had no idea. Mr. Natsume's arrest. We know this to be the lodging of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Soseki Natsume. It seems that you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Sholmes, for the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road. Natsume. Yes, I believe it was named rather along those lines. But Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little? I'm sorry, Mrs. Soda, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean. What? I can't believe he was looking Suzuki-san squarely in the eye while feigning ignorance. I assure you, I'm not merely feigning ignorance. Oh, so he can read our mind too. It would appear as if the pair of you are under some misapprehension. Oh? How? I assure you, I have no recollection of accusing your stooped compatriot of the crime. But that doesn't make sense. The good detective of Scotland Yard made the following request to me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene. Ah, a man seen fleeing. There were a number of books scattered on the pavement of the scene. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop from which they had been purchased. On speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? I believe there is a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question. So you don't think Mr. Natsume is the culprit then? That I could not tell you. But I was aggravating my facilities, hence why I returned here. Oh, it was aggravating my facilities. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books, I found myself quite lost in bibliophory. Do not be deceived into believing that I am a man of leisure. No, no, no. Oh, dear. Mr. Garadib, the landlord. Ah, tell me. Have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings? Yes, Mr. Garadib, a retired military man. It was the first time I've ever met a soldier from the Great British institution that is the services. And it was the first time I've ever met a maid from the Great British institution that is service. Oh, someone found that joke funny. No! I didn't think it was that funny. Look, Sholms laughed as the Soda-Son laughed. Naruto? You take what you can get. Take it from an unfunny man such as myself. I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid. Yes, I read as much in my Great British Primer. And so, conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to bestoken the social standing of those dwelling therein. Betoken their social standing, sorry? Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family. Goodness, how extraordinary. As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between the middle and lower class, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance. I had no idea. And it is for precisely that reason that I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs. Specifically in the retired army veteran, Mr. John Garadib. Oh? Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case, I am as yet unable to ascertain. I am thoroughly lost on what he means to say. The dingy room. This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you that any man whose lot is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later. Mr. Natsumi has stabbed no one. Ah, but sooner or later, as I said. I don't believe that's the issue here. About this dark little room, Mr. Sholms. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea? No window? Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks. Ah, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. What? Man, you can't have shit in Detroit. Window tax? What is that? Surely not a tax on windows. Precisely that. Oh my goodness. Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Those of lesser means have inherited a sizable and costly family. Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home, perhaps rapidly closed windows up, while the rich opened windows here and there and everywhere, in an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money. How awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light. Indeed, disease was rife as a result, and so 40 years ago or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example. I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. Or stipend. It would appear so. I've done a little digging, and discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price. No! There we go. Because the room is so awful, I should think. Apparently, Mr. Natsume had only moved in here about 1 week ago. Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation. Oh? Still, that is of little relevance here. A matter not worthy of further attention. Are you sure? I'm curious now. Well, I believe I've told you all I can now. Thank you, Mr. Sholms. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruto. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law? You remembered that, did you? Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the accompaniment of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it? Oh no, the audio went completely. Fixed it. I'm not sure. Not sure? On what grounds? Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday. Really? Well then, I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized, and so promptly, too. The thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence? Yes. Trust. Mr. Sholms? Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he? My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea. Oh, but I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate? Ah, yes, that was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them. Oh, I see. Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese accompaniment of this room, and there are witnesses who swear to have seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. Ah, and one more thing. Oh, what is it, Mr. Sholms? Tell us. I cannot say with any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I am quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something. Mr. Garadib is... Mr. Sholms said as much before actually, didn't he? Anyway, at present that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case. Mr. Naruto, as yet our investigation has uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsume's innocence. No, you're right. Perhaps it's time we probed a little deeper into Mr. Garadib's secret. Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruto. A busy man indeed. He's gone back to his books in the corner of the room. Has he actually? Oh, he has. Excuse me, Mr. Sholms. Yes, so true. To be or not to be. That is indeed the question, Mr. Naruto. To be or not to be brushed off, that is the question. And the answer is all too clear. Let's leave Mr. Sholms in peace, shall we? Alright, I enjoyed the smell of books, but it's overwhelming. I do like that they just straight up, like, especially if I came back after a long time and had no clue what was happening, and I didn't have documented proof of what I did last. It is nice that they have this little thing that basically tell you where you gotta go. But yeah, I think we'll end it here. Because once again, I'm going to try having shorter episodes, because I think that's more digestible for you folk. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay safe, have fun, and have a great day.